Hello, YouTube. Alrighty, so I am discussing Imaginal Acts by Neville Goddard and Living in the End today to my Facebook group. But for some of my people who don't have Facebook, I'm putting this video up on YouTube, and for anybody else interested in my perspective on Neville Goddard and the way he uses Imaginal Acts and how he explains living in the end. Okay, so let's talk about Imaginal Acts. So Neville Goddard was very visual, and he would go into this state. It's the state akin to sleep. It's that state just before you fall asleep, meditative state. It's not, you may not have ever done this, but it's not that hard. It's just getting comfortable, breathing, and just kind of acting like you're gonna fall asleep, and get into this place where you can visualize freely. Okay, he believed that this state impressed the subconscious, and this was the key to also feeling and bringing your manifestations forth to your 3D reality. Okay, so the way he explains it and the way he does this, I have found that it works for me. There's people, manifesting coaches and things like that, who say you don't have to use Imaginal Acts, and this is true. It's just another tool, technique. Also, Neville Goddard uses the first person in his technique, and I've also heard that you don't have to. You can look at it as if you're watching a movie screen. Okay, I feel in my reality when I've done that I don't see my manifestations come in as quickly, or sometimes they're partial, or sometimes I see other people getting my manifestations. Okay, because I'm looking at it from afar. I'm looking at it like it's out there and it's not really happening. So as you learn to imagine in the first person, it helps you believe and feel what it feels like to live in the end, to have what you want, to have your desire. And this is what we're trying to do, especially when we affirm. We're trying to feel it so that we can believe that we already have it. Okay? So the easiest way to do this, and I'm going to keep it simple, exactly the way he's taught it, the way he says, he talks about a ladder or a ball, a tennis ball. So when you find yourself in a comfortable place, I often do this before I fall asleep at night so that I can fall asleep and my wish fulfilled. Okay? He also talks about this being the best time to do this so you fall asleep satisfied. What I do is sometimes, because not everybody can visualize, and I get that. So if you can't visualize, if this is a practice, you keep practicing until you do, until you can. And it's not going to stop your manifestations from coming in, but it'll help you affirm, because you're doing the both at the same time. You're going to visualize and then you're going to affirm at the same time. Okay? So in this state, you're going to get relaxed and you're going to feel as though you're going to fall asleep. Right? But you're not falling asleep, but you're in that state. Picture a ladder in front of you. I know a lot of you play video games, and I always go to Call of Duty because my boys always played that, and it was always in first person the way I saw it. So you want to picture a ladder in front of you, and you want to look at it as if it's right there. You want to see it, and you want to start climbing this ladder. You want to see your hands on the ladder, the rungs, right? Is that what it's called? You want to feel. You want to start to feel, and you want to see the color of this ladder, and you want to impress it. Okay. This is a practice you can do to see what it's like to feel in first person. Another thing he talks about doing is holding a tennis ball in your hand and holding your phone. And I've done this one. I mentioned the phone, but I picture my hands out in front of me, and I feel them like they're really there. So you can start off by doing that, like I'm doing right now. Feel what it feels like to have your hands in front of you with your eyes closed. And then take your hands away and picture your hands still there. Now picture a ball in your hand, and picture yourself seeing this ball, holding this ball, and feeling the texture, and just looking at it and feeling like it's right there in front of you. This is how you're going to visualize during your imaginal acts. You want to be in this first person position, okay? If you can't see yet, just keep practice trying to see it, okay? Now, Neville Goddard talks about affirming too at the same time. And he likes to take short phrases, 3 words. I add a few words here and there to be comfortable for me, because you're never going to be wrong with this. But he likes to keep these imaginal acts and the phrases super short so that your mind doesn't wander, okay? Because if you start to imagine and start to create a whole scene, you start to get lost in your scene, and then it's harder to stay in first person. So if you can create a scene, a quick clip, and affirm with it, and then repeat it and loop it until it's impressed, until you feel good about it. This is the best way to do these imaginal acts, okay? You can daydream and all that other good stuff. I'll get into that, living in the end, in the future. I mean, during your day, okay? So now, imaginal act. How do we create our imaginal act? Think about your manifestation. Okay, what is it that you want to bring in? I'm going to use one of mine, an example. Okay, I want my Jeep Rubicon. I have a Jeep Rubicon. Okay, I have brand new Jeep Rubicon. I've been talking about this for 3 or 4 years now. Just haven't done it yet, you know. And so what I do is I picture the Jeep keys in my hand, right? And I picture my hand and I'm looking at the Jeep keys, and I can look up and I can see my Jeep. And as I'm doing this, if I can't see my Jeep, I just continue to look at my Jeep keys, and I'm saying, I love my Jeep. I love my Jeep. I love my Jeep. And I keep seeing these keys in my hand. I love my Jeep. All right? I've even gone a step further, because your imaginal act, you want it to be far enough out to where there's no question that you already have your desire. Your imaginal act has to prove and show you that you already have whatever it is you want. Okay, so you always go a step beyond. Don't go, I wouldn't go to where I'm looking at Jeeps at the car lot. I own this Jeep. I have the keys in my hand. I've gone as far as handing them to my son and saying, take it for a ride. Okay, take it for a ride. And I stay in this because I've struggled with visualizing too. I mean, I can visualize now, and I can visualize on a movie screen easily. I can see visions, visuals. It was really hard for me to get in first person. So I understand, and he tells you that it's okay, just keep practicing. As long as you're thinking you're holding keys and you're saying, I love my Jeep, I love my Jeep, I love my Jeep, and just keep playing it. Oh man, I love my Jeep, and start feeling it. I love my Jeep. And then you really start, getting into it, and you're like, you might even start seeing your Jeep and then sitting in your Jeep. And that's it. That's it. You loop it. You loop it until it feels good. You're planting your seed. So what feels good? How do you know? Okay, how do you know if the seed's planted? This is a question that always comes up for everybody. I've done imaginal acts and still felt like I didn't plant the seed, and things still came for me. But I've felt them. I've done imaginal acts to the point where I felt completely like I had what I wanted. And I had no longer did I have a fear or eagerness to get it on the 3D. I knew it was coming. Okay, so it's going to be different for everybody. I feel like whatever you feel is good. If you feel like you still need to impress it, continue every day. I've been impressing certain imaginal acts now for a couple months. Okay, some are bigger, so I really want it set in stone. And the more you visualize and the more you affirm, okay, you'll start to know it's being planted, because you'll feel less eager on the outside world. You'll stop looking for signs. You'll stop looking for it. You'll start to really believe and understand what it feels like to own your Jeep. For me to own my Jeep. You'll feel it so much that you just know it's here, okay? And that's how you know. If you're going through your day and you're seeking and looking and you're stressing and you're getting pulled back into the old stories still and you're being triggered because you don't have what you want, this is how you know that you haven't impressed it, and you haven't impressed it enough to where you just believe it. Okay? If you're still longing and believing and still thinking that you have to believe in something to bring it in, then you're not trusting in this process. This is not easy for us to do. We are so used to using our five senses to believe in reality. We're not used to believing in the unseen and just believing that it's there. Because everything is here already. We just have to bring it into our awareness. Okay? That can go on a super deep level. I will eventually get into that. But for right now, we're talking about you have to just believe in the unseen. You have to know it's done. And you have to get to this point where stop looking for it in your 3D and know it. Because the faster you can do that, the faster it'll come in for you. Okay? The affirmations are very important. Like, I love my Jeep. Like I said, I love my Jeep. If you have a hard time visualizing and getting in that comfortable place, just keep affirming. I love my Jeep. I love my Jeep. Now, this can be anything you want. Anything you want. That's why I keep telling you guys to pick smaller things in your life that you can impress so that you can see this working. Okay? Pick smaller things like, a free coffee, somebody handing you a free coffee. You have your hand on the coffee. You're saying thank you. Thank you for this coffee. Because these are things that you don't have any attachments to. So you really don't care if they come in or not. You're just impressing it though, and it shows you that you have this kind of control and that it's going to work. Then you'll start having more faith in your bigger ones like your SP. So for your SP, now that I'm talking about that, you want to pick a scene that implies that you already have your SP. You already have your SP, okay? So for me, I'm married. I'm happily, and the way Neville puts it, happily, blissfully married. Happily, blissfully married. I can see my person saying how much, like they'll say, I love being married to you. I can see myself saying, I love being married to you back. You can say, thank you. Thank you for being my husband. Thank you for being my wife. You're so grateful. These things sound cheesy, but it's simple, and this is all you have to do. We've created so many negative things in our life by impressing our subconscious, by replaying things over in our head that we don't want. Okay? Arguments with people. We see ourselves doing things, what we're comfortable with, doing negative things. So we're bringing it into our reality. And now we're trying to be cheesy and know that we're worth this. We're worth bringing abundance into our life. And we're not comfortable. Many of us are not comfortable. I am now. I am now. But many of us start in this place where you're not comfortable thinking you deserve to call these things in. So you feel cheesy going, I am so loved, and picturing and looking at your wedding ring. Because Neville uses that as a picture too. He would look at a ring, or he tells you to look at your ring on your hand and be like, I'm so happily married. This implies that you're already there. So then you're going to start feeling married. Okay? So pick a scene for each one of your manifestations that you chose. And this is why I wanted you to pick random things in your big one, so that you don't just focus on one. You want to focus on several so you can disperse your energy and you can have harmony in your life. Okay? Harmony. All right? So now that you can create this imaginal act, okay? Now you want to learn how to live in the end. Before I'm going to touch base on this first again. Falling asleep and the wish fulfilled. So with your imaginal act at night, Neville believes it's really important to fall asleep and your wish fulfilled. So while you're laying there, and you can go through all your imaginal acts, or just pick one a night. It depends on what you're comfortable with. Sometimes I can only pick one a night because I want to fall asleep in the biggest one that I want. Okay, and I'll do my other imaginal acts during the day. I can recite them, I can do my affirmations, but I'll pick the one that I want, the biggest one, the one that's going to be the challenge, okay, that I feel. But we can't be affirming that this is a challenge. We have to be affirming that this is easy. okay? I just choose one that I love to fall asleep in. So when I'm done with my Imaginal Act, I fall asleep feeling content and satisfied. I'm so satisfied. And I go to sleep in a dream state. And it's in my mind now. When I'm dreaming of what I fell asleep to. And oftentimes I wake up in the morning in the same feeling. Okay? And I can go right into that Imaginal Act again and affirm it again. It's crazy. It's weird how it does it. It's just that's how in tune I've become. Okay, so falling asleep in your wish fulfilled. So now living in the end. What is living in the end? Okay, living as if you already have your desire. This is the work. This is the work. You can do and watch as many videos as you'd like. You can keep affirming and doing all this stuff, but if you're not doing the work, especially with your mental diet and trying to impress your subconscious and trying to live as if you already have this and sort of letting go of the eagerness and wanting to see validation in your 3D reality, being able to do that and living in the end is going to bring your manifestation in faster. Can you get, there's no proven fact that you can't, be in a negative mood and still not manifest your manifestations. People everywhere talk about, we manifest 24/7. So yes, you can manifest, but we're trying to learn. We're trying to learn the fastest, most creative ways to feel good and to get what you want fast, right? That's what we're trying to do here. So there's all ways you can do this. You can stay in a negative mindset and still manifest, okay? You can even assume that you manifest no matter what mood you're in. If you can go all over the place with this. But I want you to feel good. You want to feel good. You want to feel like you have your desire. You want to feel good every day. You don't want to be moping, over sad songs like we were talking at the All Signs, right? You want to feel good and you want to feel abundant and you want to feel alive, okay? So say it's an SP that you're manifesting in. How do you live in the end? How do you live in the end? You picture that, remember the Imaginal Act, right? If you want to be married to your SP, you don't have to go as far as being married. I'm just using this as an example. Some of you just want to be dated. Some of you just want to be communicated. But for some of you, just pick what it is you want. What is the end game you want with your person? Okay? So I'm going with marriage. I'm going with marriage. So when I'm living in the end all day long, again, we're in our head. I'm not going to walk around and tell, unless it's somebody I don't know. Yes, I'm married. I'm just not wearing my ring. You're not going to want to go around and people are going to think you're delusional if you start saying you're married and you start pretending like you have a fake person next to you and things like that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're imagining like we would if we were a child again. Okay? We're imagining in our head that we're married. And when we're going throughout our day, and things that I would do is I would think, if I get a negative thought, I change it with a positive one, and I picture talking to my husband about my day, and I just received a text from my husband, and he's telling me how proud he is of me. I just start imagining and daydreaming. Think of it this way, put yourself into the future, the future you, and picture yourself already having everything, and picture yourself do it like you're watching a movie. Picture yourself, and what would you be thinking? You'd be daydreaming, or you'd be having conversations, or you'd be talking to your husband in your head. You'd be talking to your person in your head. You'd be having discussions like you do now, except now you're having negative discussions and you're having arguments with your person. Okay, but you're going to fast forward, and instead of fast forwarding and living it like it's out there, you're trying to bring it in like you're living in it now. So you're in it now and you're having conversations with your person, and they're awesome conversations. They're about your day. How is your day? Your person's asking you how your day was. You tell them work was awesome, wonderful. Maybe you guys live in another state and you are like, I love driving down, Sunset Boulevard, and talking to you on the way home from work. You know, you can think things like this. It's an imagination. When we were kids and we imagined, we were in our present moment and we just imagined things like it was real. Don't you remember? Don't you remember just playing like it was real? And nobody could tell you anything different. You were where you wanted to be. And I forget what I was listening to, but somebody gave a great example. When children imitate adults, they make themselves look mean and serious. And when children imitate children, they're so playful and loving. But when we try to imitate children, we feel we can't even be playful. We don't know how to be playful anymore. Some of us. I'm very childish, so I can be, but a lot of people can't. Okay, you lose that creativity. You lose that imagination that we once had. That was the key to everything. And as we went to school and got older, we were taught that that was just used for drawing pictures and used for art class and things like that. We weren't taught that it was used to create everything around us. If we would have stayed in that mindset of a child, we'd still be an adult trying to create things and just be fine with it, be comfortable with it. And now that's all you're trying to do is just be like when I said the Sims character at the beginning of the challenge. I said you want to. It's called dying of the old self. You're stepping out of your old self. You're saying goodbye to the self that you do not want to be anymore. You're saying goodbye to the self-concepts that you have. You're saying goodbye to who you think you are today. You are never going to be that version again, especially if you go through this transformation, especially if you take this on as a lifestyle. You're never going to be that person again. So you have to say goodbye and never look back. You can't be looking at the thoughts you used to have. You can't be looking at the habits, the behaviors. You're this new person. So by accepting this and always moving forward and imagining as if you're that person now, everything in your head has to start coming from this person that you are. So for me, when I get in my car, I have a Camaro, it's a sports car, right? And I just want an SUV now. So I sit in it and I imagine I'm in my Jeep. And I'm driving in my Jeep. I picture myself driving across country, which is something I want to do in the future here. And I'm in my Jeep. I'm just always imagining from having what I want. Okay? You know, I'm very vulnerable. I tell you guys what I'm doing so you can see that I'm doing it too. I'm working with it. You know, and when I get pulled back into the old ways, which is becoming very, you know, it's less and less and less for me. I'm very disciplined. And, you know, I've had to push a lot of people away from me while I'm doing this because I don't want to be triggered either. As I'm learning, everybody is you pushed out and all those other good things that we've talked about. Okay? I'm trying to stay clear in my head and I want to stay focused. And I am not going to let anybody disrupt or discourage me. So what's going on in our head, we choose. We have the choice. There's always a choice. So when you find yourself going back and worrying about your SP, you didn't get your text yet, and you're starting to cry, go stop. Stop it. Tell yourself, be your parent, stop it. Live in the end. I just received that text. I was just talking to my hun. I was just talking to him or her. They just told me how much they loved me. And then start to daydream on a tangent like that. Train your mind to think of fun things. Right now, you're so used to self-pitying, feeling sorry for yourself. We all done it and do it. We're comfortable with it. We think it makes us feel good because we used to feeling that way. We feel like, you know, but we're punishing ourselves constantly. Every time you are thinking of your past, negative experience, you are punishing yourself all over again and you're keeping that wound open. You're so used to doing this. When is it going to be enough? Every moment's a new moment. So when is it going to be enough to say this is the dying of the old me, and now anytime something tries to come in from that person, I'm going to divert my attention to living in the end. I have what I want and I have it now. And this is when you'll know you're there. The less eager you become, the less reactive you become, the less of I need to believe. Like, you're not trying to believe in something. When you're trying to believe in something, you're reaching for it, and it's not here yet. If you had your SP, you wouldn't have to believe that you had him or her. You would know you had your person. If you had your car of choice, you wouldn't be thinking about when you got this car or having to believe in it. I need to believe that I have that. You would know you have it. So you wouldn't even be thinking about your car anymore. You'd be thinking about the next thing you want to manifest. From that perspective of already having what you have. The more you train yourself to do this, the more things are going to start flowing in. I keep seeing manifestations from me coming in that I wrote last year on my whiteboard that I forgot about. When I moved back down to Florida, I washed the board and I started fresh again, and I've started seeing things coming in that I completely forgot about, that I impressed in my mind last year and just forgot about it, and now it's flowing in. So once you impress, it has to come to life. It has to come in. The more you worry about it, the more you keep looking for signs, you're going to keep pushing your manifestation out as if you still don't have it and you're looking for it, okay? That's why when I talk about signs, and especially I was talking about this last night in tarot, when you're seeking an answer, when you're coming to tarot and you're looking and you want a certain answer, you're not trusting in the process. If you're coming to tarot because you truly enjoy tarot and you want to hear the guidance and the inspiration and you want to hear the uplifting messages, or you want to set the intention that this read has something great for you to hear, all right? It might be telling you something from you living in the end. If you could live in the end, you might hear something, a new message from you living in the end, but you start to change your perspective like that, but setting your intention like that. If you can't do this and you're looking for signs and it's creating a negative feeling in you, it's time to back off. And if you get it, I've told you that before, tarot's amazing. It's one of my favorite tools, but even I had to back off from it after a while. If you're trying to live in the end and you keep seeking answers in your head and you're telling yourself that you don't have something because you're looking for a sign, you're making yourself suffer and struggle too much. Okay? This needs to be a fun process. A fun process. And I understand that calling in an SP isn't always fun. Believe me, it's not fun. You're doing a lot of work for it. So try to make it fun though, and try to learn how to live in the end, and try to learn as if you already have your person. Once you start doing that, once you start living in that end and feeling like you already have your person, feeling your person coming in towards you, always coming towards you, you have your desire, it's always here, it's coming in. You're a magnet for your desires, okay? When you start doing that, you're gonna feel a sense of ease. And that fear that I was talking about that comes up from the root chakra is going to subside, okay? And then the less fear you have, the less eager you are, your person's not going to feel that negative energy that you're sending out, and your person's going to come forth, come in. Okay, I've seen all this happen. Okay? This is how it works. So falling asleep was a big one I wanted to touch base on too. So that's another thing. So I choose to sometimes fall asleep after I've done my Imaginal Acts. I will be thinking about things from the position of already having what I have, and I'll be daydreaming. And sometimes you let your thoughts wander when you go to bed at night and you just drift off. Well, training yourself at this point, if it's hard for you to do it during the day and you react, training yourself at this point to actually start daydreaming like you already have your person, or already have your item, or already have whatever it is, the money you want, and kind of daydreaming just before you fall asleep too, okay? But it has to be from the end, in my perspective, okay? It has to be from the end, okay? So that's what I've got for today. I really wanted to just talk about those two things so you can add them to your challenge here every morning and night, or sometimes during the day, like even in my car, if I'm at a stop light or something like that, I will look at my key, I will do different things like this. I make it fun. And this is also making it so that you can focus on not just your SP, and you're focusing on things that you have or want. So if you had your person, what other things would you want? Start focusing on those things and living from that end. Because if you're attacking it from all different angles, and you have this whole life and you're manifesting this life in, your person's coming in with it too. Okay? So do this. Have several things. Watch your universe shift. You're trying to change your whole reality, not just you're not just trying to, have your SP. Okay? Any questions here? Any questions? For YouTube, I will timestamp for you, but if you want more than one person, I've struggled with this too, Rowan. I've struggled with this one. Okay? I'm trying to affirm that it doesn't matter who I'm manifesting in, whatever SP it is, whoever I'm married to. It's the one that I'm happily, blissfully married to. Okay? Because I go back and forth. I go back and forth. And you know what? What the hell? Manifest them both in at the same time, and then make a choice when they come in. Manifest them fighting over you. Okay? I'm still working on that one. I've had different ideas, different opinions. I feel like if I focus on one too much, I'm sending away the real deal, and I gotta stop affirming that, because that's not true. Because my higher self knows exactly who I'm married to. Okay? So that's gonna be a personal one that I'm working on too. If we know that they go to bed early, but we don't, I know that if they were here, I would more likely go to bed at the same time. Should we go to bed early as if they were in bed with us? No, Sagittarius. What I would do is just this, what you can do here, make it how you want it. You both go to bed at the same time. You both go to bed at the same time. It doesn't matter where you're at, which implies that you're living together, or you are together, and you're in the same time zone. You have everything you desire, and you and your person are so close that you enjoy going to bed together at the same time. That's how you go with that, okay? Always imagine it exactly the way you want. Get out of the habit of limiting yourself. We're afraid to give ourselves exactly what we want. So we try to bring logic. You're trying to bring the current reality with you. You're trying to say, well, this is what's real, and how can I have this? I need to make this match this somehow. This story, your end game, your new life, doesn't have to have anything to do with this one. It's not. It doesn't. So if your person doesn't enjoy going to bed at the same time as you, you can imagine that your person loves going to bed with you at the same time. You don't have to match it with some of the things you know about this person now. You're recreating exactly what you want. And the more persistent and the more detailed you are about how you want things to be, the more the exact details will show up for you. Yes, there's going to be certain things that aren't always going to be exactly how you manifested, but it's going to show up. Okay? But the more detailed you are about what it is you want, and the more sure you are of what it is you want, the more you're going to impress that. If you're all over the place with, but this, but that, but this, but that, your universe is going to create, but this, but that, but this, but that. And you're going to get partial manifestations, and maybe not your manifestation in the way you wanted it at all. Okay? You can't battle your minds. You can't battle your old self and your new self. The resistance here is you accepting the new story. Once you, I don't like the word kill, so I need to find a new word. Once you kill off, I guess, or just the dying of your old self. Once you rid yourself of this old self and this old story, and you only rely on this new story, everything's going to come in for you. The resistance that you're having is holding on to certain parts. Create exactly what it is you want. Don't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to. I don't care if you want to live in a palace. Don't be afraid to. Manifest. Learn to manifest like you were when you were a child. Children didn't care where they got the palace from. They didn't sit there and worry about, well, my job, I only make, so and so much an hour. How am I going to get that? Kids didn't do that. We didn't do that as children. We gotta relearn how to do that now as adults. Don't limit yourself in this new world, okay? Look up. I'm missing something here. Some of us don't want to I don't know sometimes either, Rowan, on that same topic. I'm still working with it. So, you know what I've been doing is I'm really awesome friends with this one, and we're best friends. Because you can't go wrong with a best friend, right? That's actually what I've been doing. I'm best friends, but I still manifest being happily, blissfully married. I can almost visualize the person that I'm married to. Okay, it's hard to teach and to still live in my end. Okay, but I have been doing this for so long that I have. And here's the thing: what I'm going to tell you about an SP. If you don't have one yet, okay, and you don't know who this SP is, you start to evolve when you do this work, and you really start to think about things that you weren't thinking about in the beginning that you really want in your relationship. So that is why I believe it still evolves and it takes time, because you need to be specific on what it is you want in your relationship. And in the beginning, you're just wanting a text. You're just wanting attention. You're not even thinking about what makes you happy in a relationship. You're just wanting the contact, and you're wanting this person to want you and be with you. But you're not figuring out the whys. Why do you want to be with this person? You're not figuring this stuff out. And as you move through this process of manifesting an SP, you begin to go, like I had an epiphany. And then Rowan came into my life. I was like, my man is so tech savvy. My man is so tech savvy, because I am not. And then Rowan comes into my world, and she's like, do, like everything. All right? Manifestation came in for me. All right? But I also realized another thing that I'm not as strong in, and that I don't really desire to be that strong in it. And I would enjoy my SP to have that quality. Okay? So these are things that you need to think about. All right, anything else? SP and ×4, Lena. No, it changed. Hey, we're human. Man, I still want Jason Momoa. I talk about that all the time. He's one of my SPs. But I love Lisa Bonet, so I don't want them to get a divorce from me. And they have 2 beautiful kids. 3. All right. Dissolve. There you go. Dissolve. I like that word. Dissolve your old self. Dissolve it. Quickly. Does the imagining and how it make you feel go hand in hand? Yes, Lena. It'll go hand in hand. As you start to learn how to create and visualize, even if you can at first, but you're affirming, you're bringing the pictures into your mind somehow, and then it's bringing feeling. And this is all together. Remember I told you when it all becomes in alignment, you're going to feel like you have it. And that feeling, I believe, is what changes who you are. It changes how you feel about yourself, and it impresses and plants that seed so that the manifestation comes. It's more believable to have this great feeling about it, okay? So I feel like it all definitely goes hand in hand. All right, daydream, all being as we want it. So do we just manifest, daydream, all being as we want it to people, etc., or whatever it is? Yes. So in the case with the 2 people or more, that's the thing, is living in the end. You may want to live in the end with the person that you choose, or use a general statement like, I am with the most amazing person, and then it's really hard, Rowan, because do you want to just go to the point where they fight over you, or do you want to see yourself making a choice? If you want to see yourself making a choice, maybe go to the end game where you don't pick the person yet, but you say to yourself, I finally decided who I want to be with. And you pick a scene, and you might want to keep it as the invisible man or woman or whatever, and you just kind of imply that you have chosen the person that you want. But if you don't want to go that far, you're not ready to go that far, then you're not ready to go that far. Just go as far as, you know, you want to take it. These two people are in your life and they're fighting over you, right? Why not? Why not have them fight for you? All right, I'm still working with that one because I know for sure that I do want to be happily married. Again, I am happily married, but I'm just, for teaching purposes, I do know this. So I'm creating as I go, and people in my life are coming in constantly, you know, and it's like, I'm assuming that I will choose the appropriate person, or I have already chose the appropriate person for me, okay? And bae. Bae. I love that word bae. I just never got comfortable saying it. Boo either. I never said boo. My boo. But bae. I like bae. Isn't it though? I call him my loving man who has the best qualities of 4. There you go, Lena. No, I want to have a main one, but there's still a best mate. So that's what I say. I got a best man, I've got a best friend, and I've got my best mate. I let the 3D, my old self, take over. Not this time. Old self. All right, Yvette, you got this. Remember, do some sort of ceremony if you have to, and say, I am now releasing my old self. My old self is dying. And bury your old self. Do something to remind you that your old self is dead. On your visor in your car, have a piece of paper that says, my old self is dead. Okay, so that when you flip your visor down, so I say that because I keep pictures there, and I have an affirmation I say constantly, I am releasing all that I hold in my heart and my body that is blocking me from receiving abundance, health, wealth, and all the love that I desire from all the unconditional love that I desire from my person. Okay, it's I have to read it, but that's basically what it is. I'm trying to release everything, okay? But my old self is dead. Put that on your visor. Remind yourself. Write it on your bathroom window. Mirror, okay? Dead. You're never this person ever again, okay? And when you react to the 3D reality, that's when you're going to take a step back and go, no, that's my old self. My new self is going to start daydreaming about what it is I want as I'm living in the end. So you already have what you want. You already have your desire, but you're going to start daydreaming about new things you want. That's what I wanted to say. You're going to be daydreaming about the things you'd be wanting in that life. Now, you already have it all. We already have everything. We just have to bring it into our awareness. All right? Any more questions? I'm going to end it for YouTube. Thank you. I'll have timestamps for you down below. You guys are awesome. Make sure to check out the other videos. If you want to check out my manifestation group, I am in Facebook. I also just started Discord. You can find me on Discord, Frankie's Tarot, capital F, capital T. I have a manifesting group over there as well, so for people who don't want Facebook. I have to get the link to that. I'll try and put it down below. All right. I love you guys. Take care.